I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start the recording now, but when I actually get ready to do the, hey, this is what we're going to do, I'll say, okay, we've got like, whatever, 5 seconds. We're going to start now, just so you'll know it's time to put on the whatever face.
Okay. You're going to ask me questions?
I am. Yes.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you things like, what made you want to write your children's books? How did you get started? Like, first I'll say things like, what kind of business do you have? I'll let you talk about that for a few minutes. And then we'll talk about like how you got started writing the books, what made you want to start this particular business, like this topic, right? Why is it near and dear to your heart? Then you can talk about the books for a little bit. And then sometimes I like to ask questions based off of your answers.
Okay.
So I might have this piece of paper in front of me that you can't see, but I very rarely ever follow it. So I made up all these questions, and I have learned that I'm a kind of a go with the flow kind of person. So sometimes guests will say something that intrigues my interest, and I'll be like, oh, so what about that? And then I'll just kind of go with a new question that has nothing to do with my sheet of paper. So
okay.
I'm an on the fly kind of gal because it makes me think of other questions and then I just go with it. So
okay.
That is how I go. If you have and I can't remember if you sent it to me, you might have already sent it to me, a bio, a picture. Okay, I thought you did.
Yeah.
If you have links to where you sell your books, I think they're on Amazon, right?
Yeah, no, I sent you all that.
I looked it up because I remember seeing the books already.
Yeah.
They're very well illustrated, by the way. I love the colors on the outside covers.
The illustrator was a channel. I'll tell you during the recording, but he really picture, because you write the book, I don't illustrate. Some people illustrate and like I don't. I really don't. I don't think I will. He really pictured the books the way I saw them in my mind when I was writing them. And that was an amazing experience.
You might actually send me his contact information if you would, because I am going to write a children's safety series.
Oh.
That's my next. Yeah. Every time I go do a vendor event, everybody asks me where my children's safety books are. And I'm like, haven't written them yet. And they're all like, why not? And I'm like, I don't have the time. I'm still working a full-time job and doing all this on the side. So my plan for this year is to at least write one.
Okay.
So I'm like you, I can write all day long, but I'm not good with the graphics.
No.
I would buy illustrations and put them in the book, but I think it would look better if I have an actual illustrator doing the pictures for me. So I have to kind of get the outline of the book first and figure out what it's going to be about. It's kind of like a stranger danger series, but I'm going to use animals, not people, at least to start with, and an animal walks off and they get lost, and then some other big animal comes and tries to harass them, and what do they do, that kind of thing. So it's going to be very basic, but I'm not a graphic artist by any means. I can draw a stick man, and that's about it. So if you want to share that with me later, that would be fine.
Yeah, if you check the links, he's there.
Okay, good. Perfect. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. Perfect.
And if you need more information, I can send you his like WhatsApp or something else.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
Okay. Now, if it's in the links, I'll find it.
He is, and he's listed as my illustrator.
Okay, good.
And if you go to my page, he's there, and you can check his work.
Okay.
His website is there. Okay. So before if you want to do that first and check.
Yeah, I'll do that first.
Check him out, and if you're good to go and you need more information, I'll send it to you. Okay. But yeah, I put him up on everything related to the books.
Okay. All right, perfect. All right. Pronounce your last name for me.
Nieves.
Nieves. That's what I thought. I just don't want to I don't want to
It'll
butcher
be fine. Nieves.
Nieves.
I've been through that and I survived. I'm still standing.
I gotcha. Now nobody can say my last name either, even though it's spelled exactly.
I checked the podcast for me to make sure I was gonna pronounce it right.
I get Mossberger all the time, and I'm like, there is not a G in that name anywhere. I just answer to whatever anymore. So it's all good.
It's all good.
Yep. As long as they know my name. See, that's the thing, right? They know my name.
Then
I'm halfway there.
They can recognize your face. That's good. The name comes after.
That's right.
Important. Yeah.
Yep. All right. We're going to get started here in a few seconds then.
Okay.
So hello, everybody. This is Becky Mossbrucker, and our next podcast guest is going to be Mercedes Nieves, and we're going to talk with her about some books that she has written. It's a great series. If you get the chance to go check them out, please do. So Mercedes, we're talking about things that can strengthen women. Doesn't mean that they have to be, an entrepreneur. They can be a mom, which is exactly what our topic is about today, and parents. So why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and how you got started with your business?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to participate in the podcast. The Children's Book Project is a project that's about 9 years old. I was teaching parenting classes. And during my years teaching parenting classes, I realized that a lot of the problems, whether the kids or parents encounter while I was delivering the information I was supposed to, was lack of exactly that, delivering information. So at some point in my life, I was able to sit down and rewrite the first book, The House of Caramel. The House of Caramel was written by me when I was 7 years old. I was in first grade. Yeah, and this is actually so powerful when I sit down and talk to kids in schools, or I get to speak in front of kids. I tell them, listen, that book you're holding in your hands, I wrote it when I was your age. And if I can do it, you can do it. So anyways, there was a writing competition in my school district, and I was in first grade, and I write The House of Caramel, and I won the first prize. I never really wrote the book with the intention of winning the competition. I wrote the book because I always enjoy writing and reading. And I did the whole illustration in the book. So you see this tiny little book with my, 7 years old characters. And I won the competition. And they gave me an encyclopedia, and they gave me more books and markers and papers to help me improve my writing at the time. So coming back at 9 years ago, I sat down and say, I should write a book. I should write a book in order for me to gather all this experience I had over these past years teaching parenting education. Because the only thing it really came out of the process is, as long as the parents and the students have the same information level delivered, they will thrive. So the problem behind their problems was lack of information. So I'm sitting here mastering all these ideas. Now, but how am I going to come out of this with a new book? What the book will be like, what will be the title, the theme, the message. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to sit down and rewrite The House of Caramel. with a stronger message. So I sat down and tried to remember the best I could of what I wrote back when I was 7 years old. And I wrote this book about this kid that happens to join an adventure throughout a series of spaces and time. And he came out of this with a positive message because he had good grades in school. And the book talks about the fact that his mom stressed so much about, you need to be a good student. You need, because if you are, that's going to allow you to do more in life. So I finished the book. I closed the book. And I'm like, well, I just finished rewriting my first book. And I sat down and say, I think I can do more. But then the message, remember that I started doing this because I wanted to deliver a different message. The main issue was the lack of information and the lack of information delivered, either the student or the parents. So I sat down and wrote Layla. Layla is the second book that has an educational message as well. And I'm like, wow, I just wrote 2 books. I think I can do another one. And I'm like, but it has to be in the same line. If I want to make a series, I need to kind of respect both books. And if you're going to come with come and write out a third book, you need to respect the line of information you're giving out, so you can call them a series. They need to kind of like, you're supposed to be able to read them separately or together, and the order doesn't have to be affected, and so forth. And I'm like, well, okay, and then I wrote in the land of the butterflies, which is probably the heaviest and more complex of the 3 books. But the message is so powerful. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You need to read the book.
There you go.
Because it gives the reader the insight that whatever life decision you make, you need to own it, and it will only affect you. It's on you, and it has to be respected. But at the end, the only life you're going to change is yours. So you got to be careful whichever way you want to take. That's the third book. So I came along. I have my 3 books. We're talking a process of almost 3 years. People go to Amazon or go to Barnes & Noble or go to my the Facebook page, or go to Instagram, and she's like, oh, she wrote all these books in 2.5 weeks.
Oh gosh.
It took, and when I talk to the kids, it's like, how long it took you to write those books? And I'm like, well, almost 3 years. And I'm like, oh, that's a lot of work. And I'm like, life is a lot of work. You just have to sit down and get it done. So I wrote them in Spanish too. When I was teaching in Spanish, I was teaching in English, so I didn't want anybody left behind. And it at the time, it was right to do it, because I came out of this years teaching parenting, and I had both parents involved in my journey. So it was tried. If I felt that it was okay to write them for everybody. And I end up having a bilingual series.
I think that's awesome, because some people might not even, they just don't even think about that, right? They're thinking, okay, I'm American. We speak English here. That's it. That's all I'm doing. And I actually have, go ahead.
No, sorry, you finished, because I was going to interrupt you.
I have a friend who speaks Spanish as well, fluently. She's from Puerto Rico, and she will tell me all the time, it's sometimes the dialects are different, because I want her to help me teach some of my safety classes in Spanish, because I have been asked for that by people whose Spanish is their first language. And I'm like, I never thought about expanding to Spanish or German or, you know, whatever, Japanese, it just never occurred to me. And hearing you say that made me think, you know what? She said
It's a
so,
sensitive topic because some people think that bilingual, it has a wrong connotation.
really?
And I not necessarily bilingual is because you can manage two languages. It doesn't have to be Spanish. Some people speak French. Some
Right.
people speak French, German. Some people speak Korean or Farsi. I have the opportunity to write it in Spanish, and I did it. Whether you are learning Spanish as your second language or you're struggling to learn English because Spanish is your first language. So it's for everybody. People ask me, "Oh, and those books, what's the age group?" It's for people from 0 to 100 years old. It's totally up to you to pick the book you want to read, and as long as you enjoy it, it's fine with me. Whether you want to improve your reading and writing habits with a lesson plan, and I'm going to talk about the lesson plan in a little bit, because I did not write the lesson plan when I finished both series. But anyway, talking about the fact that there are bilingual, it has been created with the idea that anybody can benefit, whether you speak one language and want to learn the other, whether you're struggling with one language and you want to improve the other. So it's open for everybody. So
I'm glad you said that there's no age limit, because I was going to ask you that. I was going to say, are these books for, first graders to fourth graders? Are they kindergarten to second grade? Like, what were they? So it's interesting to me that it goes from 0 to 100.
yeah, because why I say that, because if you have a kindergartner
I do. Yep.
that's 5 years old, and he can read well enough to complete one page, he can finish that book in the amount of time he needs. He decides to sit down and go through single pages.
Okay.
But if it's you that's sitting down with him, you may take a lot less time to finish the book. But it may be that you have a second grade student and he's struggling with reading. So you can have a tutor or the teacher to sit down along with the lesson plan and help them improve their reading level. So it's being designed as a tool for everybody to be used depending on the level of struggle problems they're facing at the time they have the book,
Okay.
or they get the book, or they buy the book, or the book, because if you're in the area, if you're in your county, Layla is available in the county libraries, and
Okay.
they're bilingual. You can put my name, and you can find them, whether it's in English, whether it's in Spanish, you pick. So,
Okay.
anyways, I ended up writing these 6 books, and I'm like, well, I found the illustrator. He was able to help me with the illustrations. You go through all this. Let's put the books online. Let's um, make them available for people to buy them. And I'm giving a presentation before a school district, and one of the teachers raised her hand and asked me, "Where are your lesson plans?" And I'm like, "Lesson plans? Oh, of course. Oh, of course, the lesson plan." She's like, "The way that the project is designed needs a lesson plan if you want to really impact those students' life." I'm like, right. So I sat down by myself with the books and develop both lessons plans. Why? Because critical thinking is allowing the kids to ask questions. If you allow them to think in a logical way, it's going to benefit you and them. If you have the good reader, the app reader, the one that goes through the books and tells you, I'm done. Here's your lesson plan, honey. Go ahead and can you do you want me to do you want me to work with you and the lesson plan? Can you do it by yourself? The lesson plan has activities, coloring pages, questioning. Every book has their own lesson plan within the whole lesson plan book. So it's a way for you to say, okay, you're done with the reading. You read all the books. Here's your lesson plan. Sit down and work with it, and they will improve their critical thinking and their reading comprehension as long as they go through the pages of the work, which is what we used to call work book. It's a lesson plan. Why? To help them digest the reading they just finished. There's we we older people, not students in schools, read an article, you close the article, and I forgot what it was about.
Exactly.
I didn't pay attention. Yeah, you need to work on your critical thinking and maybe read that article and go ahead and ask your own questions, answer them, so you can improve reading comprehension. That's a very good exercise. And when I say that, people is like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, you see? So you can point to your kid telling you, you don't know what you're reading, you didn't pay attention. Did you have you really sat down and pay attention of everything you've been reading lately? Can you go back and say, I remember the message was this, I was supposed to this, I was supposed to do this, I was supposed to do that at this time under these circumstances and with this color on this time frame? No, you don't, because we just go through life in a blast.
Mm-hmm.
You stop and I don't remember.
I know you're
So
exactly right. Because I
that
would,
is that is the how I develop this project, that it's more than selling books. um, I have I have sat down with different group of kids, and I can see the only thing they're missing is attention. As long as you sit down with them and give them some minutes of your day and read something to them, whether they're not really good at reading or they're really good at reading, um, they just need that much of investment in their life, and their their eyes are worth so much, because you really see the impact you're making in those little students, whether they're in the elementary school, middle school, or high school. Like I said, the books are for everybody, um, mostly for the early grades, because that's when you really have to work on reading levels, reading comprehension, r- critical thinking. Because when you're like finishing middle school and high school, that is something your teachers expect to be mastered long before you get to their classroom. So that is my project and the reason why I develop it.
I think that's interesting because my granddaughter is 5 and she loves to do oh my goodness, what are they called? Mazes.
Uh-huh.
She is fascinated with mazes. Of course, she doesn't know how to read yet, but she loves the mazes and she can figure out those answers like that.
Mm-hmm.
Her brother, who is 7, it
Not so
takes him a
much.
little bit more thinking to figure. It's just amazing to me how different kids are in the same family, and
Yeah.
how he's better at other things, and she's better at the mazes. And so every time she comes over, she's like, Grandma, where's my book? And she means the maze book, because that's all, that's what she wants to
That's
do.
what she cares.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
I had mothers, parents, friends ask me, so and so doesn't like to read. She only likes mathematics. And I'm like, that's good, because she may end up working for NASA, becoming an
exactly.
astronaut. Not everybody likes arts and reading and coloring and painting. They do, though, need to be at grade level. And after the pandemic, if you go to my social media pages, you'll find the articles, different magazines, and people have reading about the project. Because what's really alarming is that in an environment of so many kids, so many are running behind their grade level, whether it's reading or writing. And we really need to step forward and give them a hand and help them comply with their reading levels at school. But reading, it's a habit that is so healthy, that helps you develop so much throughout your whole entire life. So I tend to tell people, invest in your children now, that they're next to you, that you have all the legal and no legal opportunities to raise them. It's better now than never. So if you invest in your kids now, and if you invest in their reading, writing, and mathematic levels when they're little, that's going to come back to you as a long-term investment. And everybody in your house is going to win. You as a parent, and it's gonna make you feel proud of your kids, and only you know the care you put in the process, because no one cares more about your kid
yeah,
than you.
yeah,
You and when I teach the parent education seminars, I ask the parents, please raise your hand if you don't want your kid to succeed in life. I want to know which one of you want to have that kid that has problems at school, problems with math, problems, discipline problems. So it's better if you allow them to grab a book, because that's gonna keep them busy. If
right.
you help them pursue uh, any kind of writing, because that's another activity that are gonna take them away of so many things you don't want them to get involved, whether they're 7, 9, or 13, or 18, or 21. Because you got to remember, we all got to remember, once they turn 18, they're on their own.
Yeah.
Whatever you didn't start doing early in life, you are not going to have more time to master. So the earlier you start, the better it will go. I have people ask me, when should I start reading to my kid? And I'm like, how old is your kid? 6 years. 6 years ago. Go
There
ahead.
you go.
Try
Yep.
to keep up, because the more you read to them, the more they're gonna learn from you. You are their everything. You are their example. They're gonna become a person based on what they see you, how they see you, the way you talk. If they see you reading, they'll read. If they don't see you reading, how are they gonna read if they don't have an example to follow? You have to be that person that gives them that book, that tell them, let me help you, that tell them, is there anything I can help you with? Do you have any questions? What do you think the message in the book was? Do you like the book? What do you like about the book? What do you don't like about the book? Why do you like it? Why do you dislike it? Can we talk about it? That's going to open a door for so many discussions, and that's going to help them in so many ways, in the house, outside of the house, with their friends, with other kids in school, with their family members, with life in general. It's so rewarding. I have interact with people that told me your books have a level of vocabulary that is too high for this and that. And then you sit back and I'm like, maybe that person is right. And I'm like, let me make an exercise. Let me read to the kids. Let me read one page or one chapter. Um, and I asked them, you guys understood what I was reading? Yes, we did. Give them the opportunity to expand. Don't limit your child's imagination. Don't limit their world. They are sponges. If you give them the information, they're going to take it in and they're going to use it. It's on you. How much you want to do for that person that you created. And as I always ask, who is the parent that don't want their kid to succeed in life? At
Right.
some point, we're going to be gone. And what's your legacy? Their education. Whatever level of education you give to your child, they're going to retain. No one can take that away from them. So it's a long-term investment for you as a parent and for them, because you're building a foundation for whatever they want to be in life. They can either be a astronaut because they like science and mathematics. They were not really into writing a book, but they still need to read to go to school, right? If you want to be nurse, you need to still read. You need to know math. You want to be a hairstylist. Whatever path you're going to take, you get to know how to read. You need to comply with so many years of school. That's totally up to you. Not everybody wants to go to medical school. Not everybody wants to become a doctor. But regardless of the path you will choose of your life, career, you still need to know how to read and write and do your mathematics, right? Um, so, and you're giving them a tool. You're giving them a tool for when they're bored, when they don't have anything else to do. You can always pick up something to read.
Is your book, you said, at the Yorktown Library?
No, it's on the Williamsburg Regional Libraries.
Oh, the Williamsburg. Okay.
Yeah, the second book, Layla, both in English and Spanish.
Okay. Because you just made me think, you know what I'm going to do with my grandson is I'm going to take him to the library over the summer while he's out of school, because they make him read at school and he has reading homework every night. But in the summertime, he thinks he's getting off the hook.
The Williamsburg Regional Library has a reading summer program that it's amazing. You sign up for it, and then every week you come and go and you take your books, to bring your books, you discuss. Questioning, it's key. They ask you, what did you read? What do you like? They have volunteers in the library.
Nice.
They're gonna open, it's about to be open, and you need to register the student.
Okay.
And then every week they will receive a prize.
Oh,
Uh, um, one free ice cream, one free something, one free pizza, something. Every single week throughout the whole summer reading camp.
oh,
That's
cool.
the name. And it's amazing because they help the kids to get involved with this endlessly world of reading. You can read, you can finish reading books. There will always be more books to read. And the more you read, the better you become at writing. You will have a more, I don't want to be shape, but you will manage to speak more words, to put it in very lay words. The reasoning, the logical aspect of the reading comprehension will expand. And that applies to kids from 0 to 100. So the same questions you ask to the second or fourth grader or the high schooler, you can ask to the person sitting next to you. It's like, what are you reading? You want to tell me what's the message in it? Did you get the message? Can you tell me more about it? And they'll be like, I didn't pay attention. We'll go back and read. Go ahead and go back and read it again, and then we can discuss it. That is key, because you should be able to read and retain what you're reading. It's critical. The more you read, the better you will become at it, and it's gonna expand your horizons all in every aspect of your life. Reading and writing and mathematics are the best tools as a parent you can give to your children. And the way you educate your kids are going to affect their life and yours. People don't think about tomorrow. 20 years from now, 30 years from now, you blink your eyes and the time went by and you didn't pay attention. It just did. And then you have this person and you're older and you're like, I always say, remember, you only have this much time. Try to make the best of it, because at some point life is going to come along and you will have to let them go. We all did. And they will soon, sooner than later, depending on their age. But at some point, whatever you didn't do at the beginning, you won't be able to do at the end. So start now. Like I say, people ask me when it will be a good time to start reading to my kid. And I'm like, how old is that kid? Go ahead and sit down and do it. People tell me, I don't have the time. I'm sure you do.
Yeah, you can find a few minutes somewhere.
Wait, can you like email me your schedule? I'll find you 5 minutes. No, it's okay. I'll find it. You see, you have that time. I know you did. I can help you find it if you can. I can give you a hand in that. Your kid is going to appreciate the fact that you sat down with him. I'm not going to say an hour and 30 minutes because some people don't have it. And if you have multiple, I have 5 kids. Give them a book each. And then you ask them questions in general. You can ask the 5 kids questions about every single book they're reading, but you can ask them, hey, did you like the book? What did you like about the book? And actually, you can make a different exercise. You can have 5 books and give each book to a different person and have them read a portion, a chapter, a page, or the book. And then you come back and discuss the book with them, and you're going to have 5 different opinions and approaches to the same book. That's called book club.
There you go.
We're coming back again to 0 to 100. It's something that it's there and it's available, whether it's my books or it's a different book. That's what I people call me. But what are you doing? I'm trying to improve literacy, because literacy, it's good for Alzheimer's disease. It's good for Parkinson's disease. It's good for the kid that's struggling with a second language, because they choose nowadays the high school have labs in different languages that you can either take. I don't know, because I don't have a high school, or a person with somebody in high school can tell you more in detail what it takes to take those classes. Are they part of what they have to take, or they're something extra? I don't know. But it helps the brain. It's a healthy habit. it will come back to you as a good investment. Why wouldn't you do it?
Right.
What do you have against it? The time, I'll help you find it. Send me an email with your time. I'll find
I
you.
love that idea.
Yeah, because people, I don't have that time. I have 5 kids. Send me your schedule.
Yep.
I'll put 3 times a week. Will that work? Twice a week during the weekend. We'll
There you
find it.
go. You'll find some time.
No. Okay, you see, I'm sure if you sit down with yourself, you'll find it. I have trust in you. So
well, this has been great. I really have enjoyed this, and I've learned a lot about having the kids sit down, even for a few minutes, like you're saying, right? And read something and then have them repeat back to you what they just read, because I don't remember a whole lot of people ever doing that for me when I was growing up. And so I do have to read things sometimes twice for it to sink in, because I am not someone who can pick up things very easily auditorily. I'm a hands-on kind of person. I'm a kinesthetic person. So I learn much better if I have my hands on something. So if you just stand there and talk to me about some lecture for a half an hour, I'm going to go, what? I have to write. I have notebooks with every single meeting I ever take. So I can write my own notes so I can absorb what they said. But sometimes it depends on the topic, of course, but sometimes with reading, I got to read it a second time, especially if it's very intense and it's a very deep subject, or, something like that. I'm like, yeah, let me read that again.
That's
And
something.
I don't know everybody always does that.
Yeah. Like I said, not every kid likes reading, and if you go through my pages and whether it's Instagram or Facebook, I put hints with pictures and stuff. It's like, if your kid doesn't want to read because he doesn't like reading, find something they like.
No.
Oh, it's that he likes to build planes. Buy a magazine for people that want to build planes. He's gonna grab that magazine, and he's gonna put himself in the situation where he needs to read the magazine because that's what he likes. Some people don't like academics. They don't like things related to school because they're boring. Okay, what do they like? Well, they like Minecraft. Okay, we'll find him or her something related to Barbie. Okay, coloring book and activities. In order for them to complete the activities, they're going to have to go through the instruction, and that requires reading. So you see, and everybody learns on a different pace, in a different level. Not everybody it's better than the other. Everybody takes different times to learn different things they like. As long as you're learning, and like I told you before, you don't need to read for an hour and 30 minutes every day. But as soon as you build a foundation for the habit, at some point you wouldn't have to ask them to read. They're going to grab a book and walk away and go read. Because I see it sometimes when I go to the library, or you go to a coffee place and they have, lately the coffee places have like children books. And you see the little ones, whether they know how to read or no, they just want to go through the book because it's cool. They're in a coffee place, everybody's reading. They're gonna, and they don't want to be left outside. They want to sit down and read as well, right? And that's habit, and that's gonna stick with them for a very long time. You're doing good if they can do that in front of you. You're doing great. You are instilling the habit, and that's going to be for a lifetime. They can like education, no one is going to take that away from them.
That's perfect. So on that note, we're going to end this session. So thank you so much for being on with me today. I've enjoyed so much talking to you, and I'm definitely going to go look at your books because I think some people in my family might need those. So.
Like I say, it's from people from 0 to 100.
I love it.
And everybody's welcome to to go through the books and find the one they like. Thank you
Sounds
so very much for having me. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much. All right, everybody, have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.